Jussie Smollett, currently on trial for his alleged hate crime hoax, testified the other day that CNN's Don Lemon gave him privied information as to what police were thinking, directly interfering in a very serious political and cultural matter. Now, it's not the same as what Chris Cuomo did, but it is still pretty bad. Chris Cuomo, of course, got fired because he was secretly assisting his brother with a PR message pertaining to the harassment allegations. CNN said it is inappropriate for one of our personalities, quote unquote journalists, they didn't use quotes, but I will, to be basically offering up this advice to a major politician. Now, as it goes with Don Lemon, who now Jussie Smollett has testified under oath, had given him private information as to what the CPD, Chicago police, had been thinking. Well, they're not related, and I don't know what obligations Don Lemon does or doesn't have in terms of withholding or providing information, but he's certainly interfering with high-profile stories that they are covering. So, bad. But for Jussie Smollett, it gets interesting. I mean, we've got a bunch of news pertaining to his trial. We'll also talk about CNN and their scandals, because it turns out CNN knew, apparently Chris Cuomo is saying Jeff Zucker knew all about what was going on and is only reacting to negative press. And as for Jussie Smollett, entwining the two scandals together, as it were, he's testifying that they was just driving around smoking weed. And that was just, the Osundaira brothers are lying. But let's take a look at the CNN scandal first, because this is interesting. From timcast.com, another CNN anchor, Don Lemon, interfering in legal issues. Lemon shared inside information with Jussie Smollett via text. CNN has been plagued with issues this week related to its top anchors interfering in criminal investigations related to notable and high-profile individuals. The latest issue has arisen regarding the case of Jussie Smollett. Now, we know Jussie Smollett's being charged with 6 felony counts for the hoax. Smollett said he had correspondence with CNN's Don Lemon during the early parts of the Chicago Police Department's investigation into an alleged hate crime attack against Smollett, a case for which Smollett is now on trial defending himself from allegations he staged the entire ordeal for the purpose of gaining attention. In his testimony, while on the stand in court Monday, Smollett said under oath that as the investigation was underway, he received a text from the network's Don Lemon. The text purportedly relayed information stating the CPD didn't believe Smollett's account of what happened. Lemon told his viewers on CNN at the time that Smollett's story was personal since they had been acquaintances and were in constant communication since the alleged attack. Lemon shared that Smollett shared what had happened to him. Lemon admitted the account raised lots of questions. Lemon went on to share that while Smollett is innocent until proven guilty, he would question the goodwill of a lot of people if the story turned out to be untrue. At the time, CNN has not responded to any request for comments. I'm not here to play games. This is not the Cuomo scandal. It is not the exact same thing. It is relatively different, but still, in my opinion, it's inappropriate. That being said, if Smollett and Lemon know each other and they regularly communicate, what am I supposed to say? I mean, Don Lemon could have just been like, look, I know this guy, so I'm not going to be commenting on this to a great degree. It would be inappropriate. And that's kind of what he did. For all the things to criticize CNN Lemon for, this one is like mild to moderate in terms of inappropriate. Should Lemon be fired? I think Don Lemon should be fired because of the assault against the guy he's being sued for. Listen, Chris Cuomo was also accused of harassment decades ago, or a decade plus ago. And I don't know, you're going to judge someone based off of the worst thing they've ever been accused of, innocent until proven guilty. But Chris Cuomo, easy to say he should be fired because, you know, this guy faked being in quarantine. He goes on to say that Jeff Zucker knew about it. I think we have this one right here. Chris Cuomo claims CNN boss Jeff Zucker knew about involvement in government scandal. So you got it all the way up the tree, right? Now, the thing is with Don Lemon is he is currently being sued for assault. He did some stuff that's not too family friendly at a bar. And this guy was basically, I'll just leave it at that, assaulting someone else. For this, I think, well, again, innocent until proven guilty, but Don Lemon's not a good dude. He is not a good person to have on TV. And the challenge, I guess, is do we just accept that CNN is a garbage bin network and the things Don Lemon is accused of are overly egregious, but so far they're just accusations, and what he was doing with Jussie Smollett and having to report on this, they should never have done that. I kind of feel like with Don Lemon, it's grains of sand making a heap. Like when Don Lemon was like, could the missing Malaysian airline have been sucked into a black hole? I know it's preposterous, but is it preposterous? Yes, Don, it is. Shut up. That's stupid. Hey. But that's CNN. This is the garbage bin network. I think I have their ratings. Let's all gloat in their terrible ratings. This is mind-blowing to me. Look, you guys get it. With Chris Cuomo and everything he's done, why would anybody want to watch him? Apparently they did. With Don Lemon and all the dumb things he said, people still want to watch him. But check this out. First, let me start with the total viewers live and plus SD. And this is for Wednesday, December 1st. I chose Wednesday because I think Wednesday, hump day is the right day. You do Thursday, well, people are kind of tuning out. You do Friday, everyone's out partying. Saturday and Sunday weekend. What's a good day Wednesday? This is when people are active, middle of the week, watching the news. And take a look at this. You've got Don Lemon with 711,000 viewers. You've got at 11 p.m. Don Lemon with 462,000 viewers. The crazy thing is, at the same time, O'Donnell's got 1.4 million. Williams has 1 million. Gutfeld has just about 2 million. Laura Ingraham has 2.5 million. Amazing. When Tucker Carlson is on, this is the best part. When Timcast IRL is live, and we get between live and on-demand viewership in the couple of hours, we'll get 350 to maybe 500,000 in terms of our audience. And Anderson Cooper's getting 911,000. Man, that's a lot of people. How is CNN doing so well in the ratings? Well, Tucker Carlson gets 3.58 million. I don't know how we're supposed to compete with Tucker Carlson, but hey, everybody who watches us, you guys rock. I really, really do appreciate it. But to be fair, this isn't key demo. Take a look at this. CNN. The key demographic, 25 to 54, Don Lemon gets 165,000 viewers at 10 and 118,000 at 11. And wow, is that bad? I mean, look at MSNBC as well. O'Donnell only gets 160,000, and Williams gets 130. MSNBC absolutely killing it in the older than 55 and older crowd. Take a look at this. Tucker Carlson is getting 615,000 viewers in the key demo. Man, we're close. And that's surprising to me. I just kind of turned the camera on and talk, but we have good guests. We are going to have Steve Bannon on tonight, so you don't want to miss this one. That's right. Steve Bannon will be hanging out. We're going to be talking a lot about what's going on with these misdemeanor charges, the misdemeanors from hell. Should be fascinating. But I got to say, I'm eternally grateful to everybody because this gives me hope. This gives me optimism. And I'll tell you this, it's a weird feeling because I certainly don't understand the other side of the camera. I have a camera right in front of me. I see this little circle and I talk at it and I express myself. I talk about my feelings. We hang out in a room. And that's all we've done. Since we've started, we've pulled up news. We've talked about it. We've done our best to make sure it's right. We've hired fact checkers and journalists. So I think we're doing a good job, but we're just doing our thing. It's always just been doing our thing and more people watch. And it's weird to go out and have people be like, man, I watch your show every night. We don't have any big corporate backers. We don't have billionaires throwing money at us. We are just a bunch of people who turned the camera on and slowly started building it up. And that, to me, optimism, hope, the white pill, as it were. Tucker Carlson's got the resources of Fox News. Sean Hannity, 521,000. We get comparable to Gutfeld and Ingram. We rival them in terms of our total 2-hour viewership. But to be fair, you combine our VOD with reruns, and we're absolutely doing more than that. To be fair, however, I believe Carlson does air a rerun as well. So, look, they all are getting a lot more views than us. And this is TV. You put them on YouTube, and they're in the millions of views. So we don't really rival them in that capacity. But it is a lot to say that in our live show, which is comparable to what these networks are doing, things are changing, man. Things are absolutely changing. I think what's going on with CNN and these scandals just shows that it's a downward spiral. It's a downward spiral. Now, let me show you a little bit of this, and then we'll talk about what's going on with the president of CNN and why I think the whole network is rotten to the core and may be crumbling. Hampton's bartender, who is suing Don Lemon for assault, brands CNN a predator-protecting machine rife with perverts and reveals he was offered $500,000 to settle. Did he say no to that? $500,000, dude? I mean, you got to pay tax on it, but then you get like 320,000 maybe. and buy yourself a house or put it in a good investment account or something. A bartender who claims Don Lemon, oh man, assaulted him in a very adult way, has said the news network is a predator protecting menace. He filed his lawsuit against Lemon, 55, in August 2019, alleging that the CNN star assaulted him at the Hamptons bar. Lemon denies the allegations. I don't believe Don Lemon at all for 1 second. This guy was offered $500,000. If he was making it up, he'd be like, thanks for the free money. He's like, no. Lemon will have to testify under oath in the near future, but it's good to see that there's finally some accountability happening. Can you imagine what's going to happen when Don Lemon is going to be deposed and they're going to ask him, did you take your hand and Oof. So far, CNN is standing by Lemon, similar to how the network backed its former anchor Chris Cuomo until revelations from the New York Attorney General's office forced them to take action. This is the evidence of malfeasance, a lack of morals and ethics. Chris Cuomo claims CNN boss Jeff Zucker knew about the involvement in the scandal. And the only reason they fired this scumbag is because the AG released evidence to the public that Chris Cuomo is a piece of trash scumbag. But we knew that when he staged his quarantine, when he comes out of the basement like, look at me, everybody. Finally, the fresh air. We know you left your home. We know you lied and you got called out and got into it with some guy who was like, aren't you supposed to be in quarantine? And he was like, who are you? And then Cuomo goes on his serious show and basically admits it because he is a bad person. He is a bad person. He goes on primetime cable and lies. And Zucker knows, and Zucker's in on it because CNN is reality TV garbage. And now I have to deal with the stupid crackpot bullish that they jam into people's brains. People like Brian Stelter, Oliver Darcy, putting out a statement about the right-wing echo chamber. And I said, it must be so difficult for Oliver when he gets ready for work, having never had access to a mirror before. I'll be the first to say, I understand. We all have our opinions and our perspectives. And that means if there's people who consistently come to us for information, they're going to be getting a lot of that same information and confirmation bias. I absolutely get it. But I got no problem pointing that out at the very least. And I think it's important to know. You watch me, you're going to hear my perspective. I'm one dude. I'm not a major network. The difference between what I do and what they do is that Jeff Zucker is looking at all of these employees and he's like, we want a narrative that fits X. And you know what we do here at Timcast? I do not tell any of the people in the editorial department what to write. At the most, what I do is I'll see a story and I'll post it to Slack, our internal communications, because I think it's interesting. Sometimes they write it up. Typically they do, but I don't tell them what to write about it. I just say, hey, look at this story. This is interesting. Often there's a lot of original reporting and on the ground stuff. I don't tell them what to ask or what to say. There's no top-down narrative about what we're supposed to be doing. It's literally just, guys, report the news. What you see, what you think, what is interesting, what is important, what affects people. What do we do on this show? I am but one person. CNN. It's a network. See, the reason Jeff Zucker probably didn't fire Cuomo is because they're all in on it. Zucker knows he's making reality TV. He literally made reality TV for NBC, The Apprentice. Pretty sure it was The Apprentice with Trump. So he joined CNN. And he helps turn the most trusted name in news into reality TV garbage. It was supposed to be late night news and commentary. Now it is just blowhard, opinionated idiots like Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo, and Cuomo's been fired. And Don Lemon, boy, is he just terrible at his job. What was it, a couple of years ago? He was voted like the worst journalist of the year or something like that. Look, I understand we do an opinion show. We do a news talk show. We do political, cultural commentary, all that stuff. It's not too dissimilar. But we're not pretending to be the most trusted name in news. If you like what we write over at timcast.com, become a member, help support our work. But there's no top-down president telling everybody we have a narrative, we have a message, we have an audience. We're just like, hey, man, write the news. If you build it, they will come. I know it's if you build it, he will come. But if you build it, they will come. They will come. And the way I see it is, we are going to invest in doing the news the right way. And that is hiring good people, fact checking. We are going to be launching our fact checking nonprofit. It is already up and running, but in order to get it going in terms of tax purposes, it'll be in the new year. It's a 501c3 nonprofit, which means its finances are going to be publicly available. And this is the outlet that's going to do fact checking for us and fact checking other outlets. And what will happen is for timcast.com, we're going to write the news we think is important. Top mainstream stories, cultural issues, foreign policy. Just going to report the news. And I believe, truly, two things. Over a long enough period of time, you will eventually build an audience that is interested in what you write. We will not pander to any group of people to try and attract viewers. But more importantly, that if we just do good work, we will fill that vacuum. With all of the media turning into garbage, rage bait trash, if we just report things that we think matter, then we'll build an audience and we'll also fill that void, resulting in people saying, I'm going to come here instead. We have a story. It's from a couple months ago, and it's Dollar General expanding rapidly across rural areas. Not rage bait, not the most, craziest political story, but something that we at Timcast just thought was newsworthy and interesting. And it is, especially for someone who lives in a rural area and you see the massive explosion of the Dollar General stores. You'll be like, wow, take a look at this. This is sweeping rural areas. Hey, industry is expanding. And you'll probably just click on it, read and go, how about that? And you'll move on. And we have other stories like that because the goal of timcast.com is not to just rage bait trash like Cuomo and Lemon. And I'll tell you this, because I've often said, I do see an issue with the channels with the content I produce here and my main channel Timcast, because I can only do so many videos per day. So over at Timcast, I'm like, what do I think is the biggest story per day? And I do it. And then people are like, all you ever talk about is how much you don't like the Democrats. And I'm like, well, I really don't. But it is bad if people are only getting their information from me when the one story I put up per day is just about why I don't like the political establishment, namely the Democrats. And so I'm like, we need to make sure we're doing news right. So let's launch timcast.com. Let's put a ton of money and resources behind this. And then we're going to have a nonprofit fact checking. So all of these ridiculous leftists who cheer for CNN, who are like, Tim's grifting. It's like, oh, grifting and giving away money through our nonprofit to hire people to do good work. It'd be the easiest thing in the world, not doing any of this and just making the YouTube videos and taking the money. But that's not what I believe in. I believe that CNN is poison. It's poisoning the minds of people across this country. And it's not just CNN. It's MSNBC. It's all of these mainstream garbage news outlets that pump out lies every single day. And you know what makes me feel? You know what I feel inside watching this stuff? I'm like, these people need to stop. But at the very least, if they're going to be vomiting all over my floor, I'm going to go try and clean up as much as I can. When I see what they do and the lies, it makes me want to get up and get to work and start cleaning. Because I've watched them lie for decades. Since I was a kid, media was full of garbage, just trash. And this is it. Don Lemon, Chris Cuomo, Jeff Zucker, they're amoral, awful people. Brian Stelter, too. Brian Stelter is one of the worst. He has no ability to do any research, and he probably doesn't. He just sits there and he regurgitates just half-baked, unfact-checked, without doing any research, garbage. He goes on his show and he says things like, don't watch Fox News. They're the propaganda. Yeah, that's how you know someone's trying to lie to you. When they say, don't go talk to anyone else. That's what cults do. Do you know what people do when they're trying to break you out of a cult? They say, don't just talk to me, talk to other people. Check out Elijah Schaffer and Sidney Watson's show. You Are Here. Check out Louder with Crowder, Styx Hexenhammer. Watch Kyle Kalinske and Jimmy Dore. Make sure you're getting an eclectic bunch when you're consuming media information here, other perspectives and stories we may not be able to cover properly. Let me tell you why YouTube YouTube as a company is bad, but the platform, the ecosystem is good. You turn on CNN, you get a Jeff Zucker who knows what's going on. Paramount scumbaggery. These companies tell them this is the narrative we want to drive. So what does CNN do? Orange man bad. Shall we go and cover protests on the ground and tell America what's happening? No, let's do a panel on why the orange man is bad. But take a look at YouTube. You come to YouTube and sure, there's an algorithm, but you get a network of news and political commentary where it's like Steven Crowder talking about guns and talking about the election. You get Kyle Kalinske talking about not wanting woke politicians or advocating for universal health care and railing against private insurance companies. You get Elijah Schaffer and Sidney Watson, and they have complex discussions and bring on some, we'll just say, controversial guests. They had Kyle Rittenhouse on the other day. I mean, hitting it out of the park, guys. You have a bunch of different perspectives, and you can get all of this on one platform. But if you choose to go to CNN.com, you will get regurgitated garbage from scumbags who are manipulating you in a desperate bid to retain what little power they have left. The Airport Hotel News Network. Yeah, well, they got booted from the airports. That deal is over. And now what do they have? Oh, YouTube puts them on the front page, and everybody hates it. So, yeah. There's nothing infuriates me more, man, than hearing someone say to me some crackpot lie. There was no investigation into Burisma. That's not true. There was no quid pro quo with Biden because of CNN, because of people like Brian Stelter. Americans believe lies. And you know what? The dude gloats in it. He revels in it. Everything I pull up cites corporate mainstream press, and I have to fact check and dig through and check sources before I decide to use them. And that means sometimes they are still wrong, because I know these networks are wrong, but they get things right. I've got to sift through fields of feces to try and find what that whole kernel of corn they crapped out, because CNN is just vomit all over the floor. And if you dig deep enough, eventually you'll find a whole sandwich in there somewhere. It's gross. Yeah, I know. But this is what it is, digging through the media. It's seeing how often they lie or manipulate. In fact, the other day, I criticized, offered up some critique. The post-millennial said that a EU chief lady was advocating for calling for the end of the Nuremberg Code. She never said such a thing. It was just hyperbole. And I have no problem saying post-millennial, you guys, you got that one wrong. It's too exaggerated. The framing is bad. Fix it. I'll call out anybody who needs to be called out. I'll call out Donald Trump when a witness on the stand in the Maxwell trial says he was flying on that plane along with Epstein. And anyone who should be called out should be called out. That includes me, and I got no problem saying it. I don't care for the elites and the power-hungry crackpots. And I have met people on the right as well who are like, I got to figure out a way to just monetize and make money off all of this. And that's never what I've done. I've always just been like, this all started with me having a Patreon. And it's just getting a couple grand a month to make videos and be like, here's what I think, here's how I feel. And then eventually more and more people signed up and donated, and it got more views. And I was like, let's keep doing more. The media is a flame, and there's a lot of good things about that, but these people are evil, in my opinion. It is the banality of evil, the commonplace nature of people like Cuomo and Lemon to lie, cheat, and steal. And this is what emboldens people like Smollett to stage this trash, which is ruining the fabric of our planet, of our civilization. Rant over. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see y'all then.